You may have watched another video in this series, Take Your Time to Think. In that video, I explained that if you only think about what you are going to do with your pieces, then you will lose a lot of games of chess. You need to spend some time thinking about what your opponent is planning. You can see all of your opponent's pieces, so take a good look at them. If their plan is quicker and better, you need to defend. If you decide that your plan is quicker and better, then you can attack. But how do you come up with a plan? You need to be able to think ahead and imagine what the board will look like after the next few moves. Most players learn to make plans like, I will move my piece to attack their queen. If they don't notice, then I will take their queen on my next go. But this kind of plan doesn't work against good players, because good players do notice. You need to get smarter. You need to think about what your opponent is likely to do, and what move you will play after that. You need to think about your move, their move, and your next move. And if you can manage more than that, then that's fantastic. This will force you to think about your opponent's plans. You need to learn to spot their good moves. But that sounds like hard work, doesn't it? It's hard enough trying to work out your best move. What chance have you got trying to work out what's going on inside your opponent's head? That's why you need to start with the easy ones. Checks and swaps. If you give check, then you know your opponent has to get out of check on their next move, so it's easier to work out what they are going to do. And if you take a defended piece, your opponent will probably want to take your piece back. It's a swap. Again, it's easier to work out what your opponent's move will be. So when you give check, or you are about to swap pieces, it's a good opportunity to think about what your opponent will do next. Then you can plan your next move. With a bit of practice, you'll soon be able to think ahead in other situations too. Let's look at some examples. In this position it is white to move. Black is winning by a knight, but that is about to change. Look for checks and swaps. Pause the video here and try to think 1.5 moves ahead. The white queen is attacking the black queen, but the queen looks safe because the black knight is defending it. Not anymore. The black knight is gone and it's check. Black has to get out of check. There are two options. First, black could block check with the queen. But white just takes the queen with the bishop. And white should win this game easily now. But black could get out of check by moving the king, by blocking with the knight, or by taking the white bishop. But white still wins black's queen. The queen looked safe, but thinking 1.5 moves ahead was all white needed to do to find a winning plan. And because the first move was a check, it actually wasn't that tricky. In this position it is white to move. The game looks even, but that is about to change. Look for checks and swaps. Pause the video here and try to think 1.5 moves ahead. The white knight is attacking the black bishop, but the bishop looks safe because the black king is defending it. It's check. The white rook is attacking the black king. Black must move out of check immediately. The only way out of check is to move the king onto the 8th rank. And now it isn't defending the bishop anymore. The white knight will take it. Again, thinking 1.5 moves ahead was all white needed to do to find a winning plan. And because the first move was a check, this one wasn't that tricky either. In this position it is black to move. The game looks even, but that is about to change. Look for checks and swaps. Pause the video here and try to think 1.5 moves ahead. The black rook attacks one of the white knights, and the black knight attacks the other white knight. But everything looks okay, because the white bishop is defending both knights at once. What a hero! except that superheroes have special powers, and this bishop has no special powers. It's just an ordinary bishop and it shouldn't be pretending. This bishop can only really do one job properly. The white bishop was defending that knight, but it isn't defending the other one anymore. And black has won a knight. Thinking 1.5 moves ahead was all black needed to do to find a winning plan. And because the first move was a swap, it actually wasn't that tricky to find the right moves. Let's look at a final example. In this position it is white to move. Black looks to be winning, but white can turn the game around. Look for checks and swaps. Pause the video here and try to think 1.5 moves ahead. Did you think of forking the rooks with your bishop? It looks good, but it gets in the way of your rooks, and the game would carry on like this. And black is winning easily, so let's go back and try again. The way for white to take advantage of a bishop fork is like this. The black king has to recapture the rook. And now the bishop fork wins a rook and the game. There's one other important reason to think ahead. Take a look at this position. Black has just moved the pawn from c3 to c2. Black is about to promote the pawn into a queen and even up the game. If white takes the pawn with the queen, what move will black play next? It was a trick question. Black can't play any move. It's stalemate, and the game is a draw. Oops. Let's take that move back. If you try to think 1.5 moves ahead, and you can't find a move your opponent can make, then maybe it's stalemate. Thinking 1.5 moves ahead helps you to avoid stalemate. Right, in this position you should be able to work out how to win by thinking 1.5 moves ahead. Pause the video here if you want to have a go. Okay, how did you get on? Let's have a look at what white should do. Black has to promote the pawn to block check. By promoting the pawn, black gives check, but there's nothing for white to worry about. So you can improve your chess by thinking ahead at least 1.5 moves.